One of the big questions is, what is money?
For practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases.
Do you believe in crypto?
Digital currency may be an answer, but it is the highly speculative asset.
I do own Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
Welcome to the Crypto Curious podcast. Every Wednesday, we dive into the dynamic world of cryptocurrency. If you're new to the show, we recommend starting with our early episodes where we break down the basics and give a solid foundation to the crypto world. And for the Crypto Curious, the seasoned addict and the industry insiders, we're here to help you unpack the latest digital news. This week on the show, Trump shakes up the crypto world, this time with a tweet around the National Crypto Reserve promise. And the SEC give meme coins the green light, but is the hype already dead? Trump again files for trademarks for the branded Metaverse and NFT marketplace. But is it too late for a Metaverse boom? We have the right person to talk about that with today. My name's Tracy and I'm joined by Blake, who's back in the studio with me today. But we have a special guest today and his name is Roy, but you may know him better by his online name, and that is Zeneca. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. No, it's great to be here. I'm excited to chat all things Trump and stuff.
All things Trump, mostly, always, every week. But I just want to get into it. I wanted to say that I've followed you and a lot of the things that you do. You're a crypto investor, you're an advisor, you're a founder. You've got the ZenAcademy, and I've been in your Discord for a few years now. And you're all about education and crypto in the space. You're really well known here in Australia, but also globally. But looking at your intro today, you've put on here former pro poker player, which I didn't know. So where'd that come from?
I did that for 15 years. So basically straight out of high school, I went to university, but after 6 months dropped out because I was playing poker, and I was playing mostly online, but traveled to some casinos, and it very much prepared me for crypto because it's another life where you make and lose a lot of money on a very regular basis. So it was the perfect background to prepare me for this crazy world we're in now.
Crypto casino.
That's right. I have a bunch of mates actually that used to play professional poker, and they ended up being really good crypto traders because they manage risk better than other people, and they didn't trade emotionally, which is an important attribute when participating in the crypto.
Is that why I'm a bad trader? Okay. There we go. But I also wanted to say really quickly, congratulations on your recent wedding. I know you took a few weeks off from the crypto world to get married, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was good to have that break, but it's also pretty good to be back. Kind of good.
Kind of good. Look, there's a lot to get through. And Blake, are you happy to be back in the studio? You've been away in Sydney. It's been a big couple of weeks.
It's great to be back. I was in the Equity Mate studio there for a few weeks, which was also good. Had a few guests on there as well. But it's always good to be back here, Trace.
Look, let's start off then with the crypto prices, because they did pump hard the last couple of days after Trump teased a national crypto reserve, but the hype didn't last long. So Monday US time and here in Australia, the markets have actually cooled off because of the tariff and inflation worries that have crept back in. Bitcoin is down nearly 8%, slipping back below 86K after almost hitting 95K. Ethereum has dumped back down to around 21,000. We're talking US dollars, losing 15%. But let's talk about the story that kind of got everyone excited. What happened, Blake?
That's right. So our Sunday morning, Australian time, Trump came out with a tweet to say that they were going to commit to a strategic crypto stockpile, which includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, XRP, and Solana, which is definitely broadening the scope of what's previously been discussed. And as a result, the crypto markets pumped out of hours, New York time. And yeah, I think ADA jumped 50%. I saw Ethereum up at 16% at one point, and it was all on. And Eric Trump, Donald Trump's son, was berating around Twitter, talking about how exciting this is.
After hours.
But yeah, did you see this, Zeneca, as it popped up on the weekend?
Oh yeah, you could not miss it. I think we had the biggest daily candle for Bitcoin in history, and then it was preceded by the second worst day in daily history. It's been a roller coaster of all roller coasters.
It's been crazy. And Eric Trump came out and said, congratulations, this is a first where retail investors can front run the institutions, because the announcement was made on the weekend by Donald Trump. And there was no commitments around size or anything like that about how much of these digital assets I'll be purchasing. But it looks like it's moving in the right direction.
Talking about front running, there was a sizable long on Ethereum and Bitcoin as well in the few hours leading up to it.
That's right. There was a $200 million leverage long position put on, just 50x leverage just before the announcement was made. They cleaned up a cool $6 million in a very short period of time.
It was a very tight.
I think that same trader also made a short just before the tariff announcement.
Really?
Got announced
What?
yesterday. So also made a bunch of money that way. Yeah. Crime season in full swing.
So what do you think about this reserve, Zeneca? Is it going to happen this year? You know, the coins, how are you feeling about it?
I mean, strategic Bitcoin reserve, I'm all behind. I think as you add other cryptocurrencies, it just loses its allure. I think they should just stick to Bitcoin. I could maybe get behind like Bitcoin ETH, maybe Bitcoin ETH Sol, but as they just get further and further down the list, it just starts to, I think, lose credibility. You know, maybe it's good in the short term for pumping the price of these tokens, especially if the US government is buying them. There's a lot of speculation around Bitcoin. The question was, are they going to buy more Bitcoin or just like not sell the Bitcoin they already have? But presumably they don't already have stockpiles of Sol and ADA and Ripple. So yeah, it could be good short term, but I would prefer if they just stuck to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was really surprised that we didn't see follow through. This is possibly the biggest announcement to ever happen in crypto, in my opinion, because it really fundamentally changes the dynamics of how the market will work if they do follow through. And it was short-lived.
But we did see before that, I think it was on the Friday that they announced that the crypto summit that's going to happen on the 7th. So when's that? It's only a couple of days away that summit will happen. Will they talk further about the reserve this coming week?
Possibly, yeah, but they're also working on a host of stuff from regulation. There's a bunch of cases recently been dropped by the SEC against major exchanges and digital asset platforms and firms. So, yeah, I think there'll be a few things going on there, but there's probably a few ways they can skin a cat with this. They have the new sovereign wealth fund that could be used as a vehicle, or they could use other strategies in order to obtain this crypto, yeah.
Does it also mean they don't sell the current Bitcoin that they have in holdings?
That would make sense, yeah. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we can do some lobbying and he can buy it.
Any further thoughts on this one, Zen?
Not really. I think with Trump, you just don't know what's going to come. So it's just wait and see and hope for the best and strap on for the next, 1,400 days we have of this, because it's just going to be nuts. It's
going to be a bit of whiplash, but, like Blake said, this is one of the biggest shifts that we've seen. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, before we move on, maybe let's just highlight why the market has dumped. Trump's come out and said that there's going to be tariffs of 25% on Canada and on Mexico and 10% tariffs on all Chinese goods coming into the US. So it's definitely spooked markets. Tech stocks sold off overnight, and as a result, the whole market's dumped, and it's not looking good in the short term. And as a result of that, yeah, any gains that were made on the weekend are now obliterated.
Gone again.
Vaporized.
Tariffs are live now, I think. He was talking about tariffs before, but he said they're going live tomorrow, which is now today. And I think as of an hour ago, they're out there.
So this just means that it's just uncertainty, and markets hate uncertainty. And I think that's what's going to be, in play for the foreseeable future. So we could just hang around here for quite some time.
Yeah, that's right. So hopefully Trump, there's enough turbulence where, the Fed turns on the money printer again, starts quantitative easing, and then we're back on to the races.
Again, we're still talking about a couple of months though, aren't we? So we're going to be talking this way for a few months. Okay, we're going to talk about Trump again, but let's do something else in the meantime. As I mentioned, it's official. The SEC says meme coins are not securities. This means no more enforcement from the SEC. They're dropping everything right now. Every time you look at a news story, the SEC are dropping a case because Gary is gone, but it doesn't mean it's a free pass for all meme coins. Not quite. When the ruling removes a majority of regulatory hurdles, fraud is still going to be on their radar with agencies like the CFTC ready to step in where needed. So what does this mean for the meme coin market? Will this spark a new wave of innovation? I don't think so. Pump Fund is seeing the lowest numbers that it's ever seen. They've literally dropped off a cliff at the moment. We've seen so many scams and rug pulls and everything that's gone on the last few months. I think the sentiment has really come out of the market. What are your thoughts here, guys? Zeneca, I'll go to you on this one. I know this is right up your alley.
Love trading meme coins over the last few months. It's exciting, but I don't think this changes much. I don't think people who were launching meme coins were worried about the SEC or worried that it was a security or not. It was, people just doing just random stuff all the time. And this is just a continuation of the same. And like you said, the fraud and other issues are still there. So if someone is just misleading people, not disclosing their positions and tweeting about it and dumping on people, these are still things people can be, gone after for, which is a really good thing. We want, We want regulation. We just want sensible regulation. And it seems like the SEC is moving in that direction, which is nice to see for the overall industry.
Yeah, that's right. And just to put our tinfoil hat on for 2 minutes, because Trump and Melania launched their meme coins not long ago, just a month ago, I could definitely see an environment where this was prioritized to ensure that there was no liability there and yeah, they could cash out. So now, if they also get through the legislation or the rules for no capital gains on crypto, Trump and his family will be a happy bunch of people.
We'll be safe. But what about the likes of, we talked about Hayley Welsh, the hot tour girl, and there are a bunch of guys too, Zen, on the X platform who have kind of gone dark recently because they got these Wells notices from the SEC for things that they did a while ago. Some of them may have been old NFT projects and the like. But what about cases like this?
Yeah, I think those older cases, I mean, we've been seeing the SEC drop cases all across the board. They dropped their case against Yuga Labs, which was a big case, which is a great precedent for like anyone else that had an NFT project, I think. So I think there's probably a lot of sighs of relief from people who had launched NFT projects or meme coins or things in the past and were maybe either had received a Wells notice or were just unsure if they were going to get gone after at some point in the future. Is the beginning of getting some clarity for what can be launched moving forward. One of the things in the announcement about meme coins was how they are likely treated as collectibles. And I think that is probably very applicable to NFTs as well. But going back to the tinfoil hat thing, Blake, I hadn't thought of it before, but I think on the Trump and Melania meme coin sites, they're pretty heavy on insisting that these are collectibles. And I remember it because it was very weird to refer to as a meme coin as a collectible, but now maybe there's something to it.
And he didn't call it a coin, did he? He called it something different. Because I remember on the webpage it was very unusual. It wasn't Trump.
The language was carefully crafted.
Yes, very good point.
Interesting. Well, I think there's also a distinction to make between like violating potential securities laws and then also just outright fraud and market manipulation. And, some of these coins may not be securities, but there's definitely bad behavior. So whether or not the CFTC is the regulator in that respect or, a different consumer protection agency, I think there should still be a route for recourse if someone is a bad actor.
Yeah, especially with all these celebrities getting involved, which is something to stay away from. Zen, really love to get your thoughts overall on the meme coin market. You said there that you've enjoyed trading memes, and I do follow you on X, and you do give some good advice on when to hold them and fold them, and you're all about trying to keep your psyche right. So where do you feel we are in the market at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. We're in a pretty bad spot. If you're trying to trade meme coins, sentiment is probably the lowest it's been in years, I would say. Prices are reflecting that at the lowest it's been. You mentioned the pump fund conversion rate is at the lowest it's been for a while. I don't see that getting better anytime soon. I think people are exhausted. People are fed up with all the crime and the celebrities coming in. The excitement and the allure of maybe 6-9 months ago when meme coins were first taking off after that Murad speech at Token 2049 just has gone and vanished. And I think we'd already sort of seen a bit of a meta shift. There was the AI and AI agents taking a lot of attention for a while, and there's still a bit of attention there. Maybe gaming is the next thing that gets attention. Maybe it's utility coins like DeFi protocols that are actually generating revenue or things that are actually doing stuff. I don't think meme coins are dead forever. I think certain coins will come back, but it's just a risky place to be dabbling in at the moment. So, yeah.
Yep. These things come and go. Liquidity comes and goes. Attention comes and goes.
All right, let's move on to our third story, back to Trump. And this is another one that I thought you'd be interesting to chat with about. But Donald Trump is expanding his empire, this time into the Metaverse and NFTs. Yes, you heard right. Trump-owned company DTTM Operations has filed a trademark for a Trump-branded virtual world and NFT marketplace, signalling plans for a digital Trump ecosystem where users can shop, dine and trade NFTs all under the one former president's brand. So where's he going with this? Is this market's kind of gone? Is he bringing it back, or is he just attempting to capitalise on something else? What are your thoughts here, Zen?
Cash grab. Like, this is of all the things he's done in crypto, this has got to be the dumbest and most ludicrous. There's no demand for another NFT marketplace or anything metaverse. This was like 2021, maybe. Coinbase tried to do an NFT marketplace and they failed. Like, there's no chance this thing is going to succeed. Maybe he sells some stuff on it or gets a few people, but it's the most nonsensical thing I've seen him do, which is saying a lot for Trump.
It is odd though, but he's a very, well, I'm going to feel sick saying this, but he's a very good businessman. Like, he normally knows his stuff with this.
Maybe he knows something that we don't.
That's what I mean. Like, is there something, what's going on
Trendsetter
here?
Trump.
I mean, hey, if he's, foreshadowing an NFT cycle market, hey, I'm all for that. That would be great. But I think it might be him just like spraying and praying a bit. Like, he sells watches, he sells physical coins, he sells cards. He's just selling anything that he possibly could. And maybe it sticks, maybe it doesn't. But hey, let's go with the NFT pump narrative, because that would be great.
Well, they kind of have resurfaced a little bit. We've got ordinals possibly coming back on Bitcoin. Is that going to be a thing again?
Maybe at some point. I think that, it's that situation of they've gone down 99% and now they're up 5-10%. People are like, yay, they're going up. But it's really, they're pretty dead and ordinals. Even ETH NFTs. I think I saw Whale tweet this the other day. It was Whale. 8 of the top 10 NFT projects across all chains, including ordinals, are still on ETH compared to 2 months ago. I think a lot of the NFT prices on ETH are down 50%.
With these innovation cycles that we see with these new technologies that come to market within the crypto space, the blue chips usually stick around, even if the 99% of the rest, hits the wall. So, yeah, I think we'll see some of those high quality projects around into the future.
Before we go for a break and come back with our short, sharp news bites, do you want to tell us a little bit about ZenAcademy and your passion for education that you've always had?
Yeah, sure. So I launched ZenAcademy in November 2021 because I just spent months trading and being a DGen, and I felt like I didn't want to just do that full time forever. And so I started this newsletter, which I'm still writing, by the way. And I realized, hey, I like this. I like writing. I like writing about crypto. I like helping others and educating. And so I launched a Discord server, and that basically just grew into, we did a mint for the membership, just grew into this academy of learning where we did some courses, we did some free courses, and just helped people onboard them into NFTs and then crypto at large. And really for the last couple of years, we've just been hanging out on the Discord together, helping each other, find good projects to invest in, or just your airdrop farm or anything. So yeah, it's been really fun. And lately my focus has been back on that newsletter where I wrote a lot in the early days. And then I realized in 2024, I only sent out 3 issues, which is dreadfully low. So I've just recently recommitted to sending out a weekly issue. So hopefully that holds me accountable, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Is it a different feel? Like, you talked about the community in the Discord, which I was a part of back then. And is it a different feel, the community now on, say, Twitter and even in Discord?
100%, yeah. It's not just now compared to then. It's like now compared to 2 months ago. It goes in cycles, and you can very clearly see it in terms of the number of messages in a Discord server. Like, there were days where you'd wake up and you just scroll for half an hour. You couldn't read all the messages. And then there's days you wake up and there's 4 messages posted. It's when the market is hot, people are trading meme coins or NFTs or AI agents or whatever the new hot thing is. And everyone's trying to, find the next thing and talk about it. And it's all quick and happening and exciting. And then we have a month of choppy down price action, crime season, and everyone's exhausted. And you can just, it's like a beating heart. There's a pulse to it. And you can really very much sense when it's, healthy or just tired.
That's right. Well, education and community is such important parts of the ecosystem. So we'll put the details in the show notes. So anyone that wants to check it out, please jump over and have a look.
All right, with that, we'll take a break. And when we come back, our short, sharp news bites. Here's Steve Smith buying a coffee. He's actually also investing in crypto at the same time, using Bamboo. You take care of drinking coffee with your mates. We'll take care of investing the small change. Start investing your change today with Bamboo. Welcome back. You're listening to the Crypto Curious podcast. Time now for our short, sharp news bites, as always brought to you by the Bamboo app. Guests first. Zen, you want to read out one of these?
Sure, I can do that. Uniswap adds native fiat off-ramps. Uniswap has introduced native fiat off-ramps, allowing users to cash out directly to their bank accounts through integrations with Robinhood, MoonPay, and Transac. It's available in 180 plus countries, so pretty much everyone, enabling seamless fiat withdrawals. It supports ERC20 tokens to USDC or ETH, and then from there directly to your bank. And there's an expansion plan for the Uniswap browser extension and website, I guess, just to make it even easier. Why does this matter? It enhances onboarding and offboarding for Uniswap users, which is pretty much anyone that uses ETH can use Uniswap, making it easier to move between crypto and cash, reducing reliance on centralized exchanges.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I see Uniswap now as a big competitor to MetaMask. They've done really well to take market share and build an incredible product. And I think that leads really well into the next story, with MetaMask expanding to also host Coin and Solana within their wallet, which I think is an important step because it allows users to stay in one place while participating in a broader ecosystem. We all know how clunky it is when you have to move through 3 wallets to get one thing done. Takes 45 minutes and yeah, you just want to shake your computer.
That's actually a really big announcement for them.
Yeah, this is huge and really a great step in the right direction. So I can't wait to have a crack at this one. And as well as that, they recently rolled out a card that you can attach to your MetaMask account. Actually, they also have a cool feature. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you don't have any ETH in your wallet, you can pay gas in the native token.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Huge.
So they'll give you that opportunity. So just for our listeners, if you don't have Ethereum in your wallet with another token in there, you can't pay for the transfer of the token out. So you have to, go and find some Ethereum from where, send it in to send it out. And now
that's actually really big.
Yeah, that's a great.
That's actually a bit of a phantom wallet killer too, that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, next up, ARK Invests have sold 98,000 shares of its own spot Bitcoin ETF worth approximately 8.6 million, while purchasing 8.7 million worth of Coinbase shares during the downturn market on Tuesday. So I guess this is just saying that the markets are down, but ARK are very, very shifty with their moves when it comes to Bitcoin and their Coinbase shares. Everyone has a look at what they're doing, and she always seems to make the right decision.
Yeah. So what do you think that ARK Invest are seeing in Coinbase that they're not seeing in Bitcoin, even though they're heavily correlated? Is it the base ecosystem?
Could be the base ecosystem. It could just be coin has not performed as well as maybe some of the cryptos, and now they think it's due to catch up. Maybe the connection between Coinbase and the US government is getting closer and closer, so maybe they think something good will happen there.
They're the custodian and they're managing trade execution for the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. It could be that Coin outperforms Bitcoin.
That is actually a very good point. Well, they know what they're doing there for sure. What's up next, Zen?
Ronald Eno launches Memecoin with 35% insider supply, raising red flags. Yeah, this is his own Memecoin Star 10 on the BNB chain, promising a whole bunch of garbage that will never probably come. I believe he's launched a bunch of rugs and coins before. This is not the first time.
So why would anyone buy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it gets to a certain point where if you're buying it, it's almost your own fault for falling for it. Unfortunately, there are still some new participants or fans of his that will fall for it, and that's the really terrible part. It gives people their first entry into crypto a really bad taste in their mouth. But for anyone that's been around a minute, I don't see them falling for this, hopefully.
What's up next, Blake?
All right. This is a really interesting one. David Sachs, prominent VC, crypto bull and crypto czar, has come out recently and said that he has sold all his Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Sol. He was one of the biggest Sol bulls. And now, of course, there would be a conflict of interest if he still held bags in these coins. I think what's really interesting is, though, he still has a venture fund that he's a general partner of, and he's a major investor in Bitwise. He actually led the seed round for Bitwise that has a bunch of ETFs on the US stock exchange. And I still suspect that there's some conflict of interest there, even though it has been reduced. So I think that's interesting to hear. I was actually watching some videos on YouTube yesterday about really the other side of all of this. And there's a lot of people just saying that these billionaires want to use the US Treasury for exit liquidity. And they're really setting up an environment where all their mates get rich off the back of the policies that they develop. And, certainly that's a lens that this whole situation can be seen through. I think there's two sides to every story. So I think it's important to highlight some of these things.
Do we know why he came out and said that? Was it asked of him?
I think it was asked.
Yeah, what do you think about this one? Sachs, do you reckon he's conflicted?
To me, it's like he's trying to get a little bit of good PR, but it doesn't make any difference because the point of selling your personal crypto is so you don't have a vested interest in Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, whatever. And clearly he has a massive vested interest through his funds and other exposure. I would almost certainly think that it is much more significant than what his personal holdings were anyway. So it's like he may have sold 5% of his total exposure, but he still has a lot of exposure through his other investments. Which, it's not the worst thing in the world to me. I don't think that conflict of interest is disastrous when you're talking about assets like Bitcoin and ETH that have, $1 trillion market caps or hundreds of billions of dollars. It's it's not like he's pumping and dumping. And it's kind of nice to know that the crypto czar or whatever he's named is, wants these tokens to do well in price and is going to try and make policies that are good for them. At least speaking as someone that also owns them.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, well, I think it's an important part of conflict of interest and disclosure of conflict of interest. You don't necessarily have to sell down all your assets that relate to the industry, particularly if you're an expert within the sector, but certainly disclosing them and making them very clear where those conflicts exist is important.
Especially when disclosing like when you're going to sell, like anytime you sell or buy or change your positions, I think, which is pretty common for the stock market if you're working in a place that it might affect it. So yeah, more disclosure would be good.
All right. Well, look, that was it. That's it, folks, for all of our news and short, sharp news bites. But it's been great having you on the show, Zen. We'll hopefully get you back again. Any parting thoughts for us today?
It's been a blast being on. Thanks for having me. I think I agree with what you said earlier about we might be in for another couple of months of market chop. We just have to ride it out. I'm still, I imagine we're all very, very bullish on crypto over the longer term. I always tell people to zoom out, take a deep breath and forget about what intraday price action. It goes up and down and always just, yeah.
And look, I've said it a couple of times now, but you're a nice breath of fresh air on X or Twitter, if you want to call it. So if people do want to follow you, we'll put all your details in the show notes below. And so what are you doing? You're writing a bit more often now?
Yeah, my newsletter is the thing that I'm probably focusing most of my time and effort on. It's, if people want to go, it's Zeneca33.substack.com. But yeah, I'll send you a link.
Definitely put all those details in the show notes below so they can check it all out. But yes, thanks again. Thanks, Blake. Good to have you back in the studio, mate.
No worries. All right.
It was very sad to be here on my own for a few weeks. All right, let's see what happens next week. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But thanks for diving into this world with us today. Thanks for coming with us, Zen. Until next week, stay curious, stay connected. You can do so by joining the Crypto Curious Facebook group or on our Instagram page. We have the weekly Crypto Curious newsletter as well. Hit the subscribe button where you're listening to us now. And if you're looking to DCA or dollar cost average into the crypto market, have a look at the Bamboo app. There's a code CURIOUS for $10 of free Bitcoin to get you started. There's a link in the show notes below, along with all the other links that we've mentioned in the show today. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.